Welcome to the Pat White Show.
Well, Wednesday is April the 1st, and normally on April the 1st, what do you see? April Fool's jokes, right? Well, April the 1st this year is not going to be a joke because something is going to happen in Cape Canaveral, Florida, like, well, we haven't seen in a very, very, very long time. As a matter of fact, over 50 years we haven't seen. Because on April the 1st, somewhere between 6:30 in the evening and 8:30 in the evening, depending upon the launch window, we will see Artemis II ignite and launch 4 astronauts on a trip to the moon. That's going to be kind of interesting because, well, we haven't had a man on the moon since 1972 when we had Apollo 17. This crew, by the way, will not, I repeat, not be landing on the moon. In their 10-day trip, they're going to go around the moon, see what's going on with the moon, learn everything they need to know about being back into space on their capsule. And the capsule is called the Orion. It's bigger than the Apollo ones, and the guys went up there back in the 70s. Got a lot more space, a lot more room, because, well, they're planning on making a bigger voyage in 2027 and 2028 and establishing a new lunar base. That's right, a lunar base. That'll be coming up the next couple of years. But this trip is a exploratory trip. And plans to, like I said, happen on April the 1st between 6:30 in the evening and 8:30 in the evening. You should be able to watch it on TV, but here's what the cool part. The Artemis rocket is going to put out 8.7 million pounds of thrust. That's the largest rocket we've ever fired. And this thing is going to be able to be seen and heard for a very long distance. I mean, people on the East Coast are going to be able to look up and see the rocket going up in the air. This is a huge rocket. Like I said, 8.7 million pounds of thrust. It's a big-time rocket. It's going to send the 4 astronauts. These 4 astronauts, well, you got 1 man, 1 woman, one African-American, and 1 Canadian. But these are all well-seasoned, well-experienced astronauts. And their job is to go up on a 10-day mission, circle around the moon, and eventually come back and land in the Pacific, not in the Caribbean, not in the Gulf of Mexico. This time they're landing in the Pacific after their 10-day trip. And it should be something interesting to watch. Now, they've had to scrub this mission in the past because, well, if it ain't right, when T-0 occurs, they ain't going to launch. And they'll adjust it to whenever they have to, the next time window that opens up. But right now, you can depend on Wednesday evening between 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. That's when the Artemis II will launch from Cape Canaveral with the largest rocket we've ever used on a 10-day mission to the moon with 4 astronauts, 1 black, 1 white, 1 woman, 1 Canadian. Truly a mixed team, but they're all highly experienced, and they're waiting to go to the moon and see what it's like without landing. Landings will occur starting next year and into 2028 when we actually put a mission on the moon. Right now we're going back to see what we did, how we did, and how we can make sure we can do it again safely. That's all happening on April Fool's Day, and it won't be an April Fool's joke. This time it's for real. And now you know. Recently, I told you a story about a bank web company that said, you know, Fort Wayne, Indiana is the second best places with wages and cost of living for people to live in the United States. Now, Laredo, Texas came out as the #1 place. So if you want to live in Laredo, that's fine. Fort Wayne, well, maybe a little bit better, a little bit bigger city, and it's not so hot up here. Now, new information has come out from the Census Bureau. Now, most people think, well, the census is only every 10 years. Well, nationally it is. But they're always keeping records, they're always keeping data, and they're always getting information. Turns out in 2025, the U.S. Census Bureau has put out some information that may catch your attention. Turns out here in the state of Indiana, one of the fastest growing counties in the state, matter of fact, the 3rd fastest growing county in the state of Indiana, is Allen County. Our population increased 16,222, or up 4.2%. That puts us over 400,000 people in Allen County because of the census. Now, why is that? Well, believe it or not, people are moving in from out of state. It turns out one of the things, we've got almost 1,700 out-of-staters that have come into Fort Wayne. And the births have exceeded the deaths. Now, that's kind of an interesting fact right there when you look at the baby boomers and how many people are becoming baby boomers, and we're losing them along the way. We had 1,510 more births than deaths. Number one is Hamilton County. Hamilton County, outside of Indianapolis, people are moving out of Indy proper and moving to the outside counties because they feel that's a better place than another county. Different government, different rules, different regulations, and different taxes. And number two, Hendricks County. Hendricks County is up 17,900. Hamilton County, you ready? Hamilton County's growth from 2020 to 2025, 5 years. Their population grew 38,025, population growth of 10%. Ours is up 4%. But when you think about it, we're up 16,222 people. Turns out Fort Wayne's a place a lot of people want to come to. Manufacturing is growing in this city. A lot of technology is growing in the city. A lot of people don't realize what technology is going on, especially in the area of drones. Believe it or not, it's very, very big going on in this town. But more and more people are coming to Fort Wayne because they're saying, my dollar will go a lot farther than it will, say, in California, in New York, frankly, and in Illinois, next door to us. That's right. People are moving out of Illinois. Population is going down in Illinois. Population in California, as you know, is going down in New York. The governor of New York saying, please, rich people, come back. We need your tax money. Well, I don't think they're coming back. But now you understand. Fort Wayne in 2025 is the third largest place where it's growing in the state of Indiana. Yes, we're up 4%, but that works out about 16,222 people. Fort Wayne is growing. Things are happening. More people are buying houses, getting houses. Whether you like it or not, the city is growing, and you're going to see growth happen in a lot of areas. You're going, we never had houses there. Well, you're going to see houses cropping up. It's just the way things work, folks, because people are starting to realize there's certain places you can live and certain states you can live where the cost of living is a lot less and the pay is a lot better and your money goes farther. And one of those places is your home here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And now you know. Well, the Indiana legislature is out of session right now and won't be back until, 2027. But in the interim, there's a lot of, agitation going on, for lack of a better term, over two issues. Two issues the Indiana State Legislature, House and Senate, are going to have to take up. And both of them are very, very critical to the state of Indiana in one way, shape, or form. The first is this. The governor of Indiana says it's time for the state legislature to take a look at legalizing marijuana. Yes, I know it's been talked about more than once, discussed more than once. The governor says publicly, hey, half the people in Indiana probably smoking illegal marijuana anyway. So let's do what everybody else around us is doing. Let's legalize it, tax the heck out of it, and let people smoke all they want. Well, that's not quite what he said, but he said, hey, we'll take the money. We're losing a lot of money because it's going to Michigan, it's going to Illinois, it's going to, Ohio, and even Kentucky now with their particular laws, they're allowing it. So everybody around us is allowing marijuana, and we're only one of around 15 states in the entire U.S. that says, no, we're not going to legalize it. Well, that's turned into a bit of a political football. Now the governor says we got to do something about this. And he may be right if you want money. If this is about money, this is about money. But in the U.S., marijuana is still illegal under federal act. It has been changed from a Class 1 drug to a Class 3 drug. Fine, I understand that, but it's still not legal in the United States of America. Now, other states are flaunting the law and saying, we don't care. We're going to make it legal anyway. Now, what concerns a lot of folks, especially in the law enforcement area, is controlling people who are, driving under the influence. DUI, it's called. Hell, we've got tests that we can give you if you're drinking, and the amount of drinking has gone down in the state of Indiana as well as other states around the United States. It's gone down a great deal. But smoking dope, how do you test for that if you're a police officer? Right now, the only way to do it is with a blood test. And that, folks, can take a while. And depending on what's in your system and what you've been in for a long time, they can't prove that you were under the influence at that exact moment because marijuana lasts in your system for a number of weeks. There's an issue. So they can't prove if you're under the influence driving, and it seems to me most people would be worried about being killed by somebody driving or smoking under the influence. That's one issue going on for the state legislature to take up. The second one, in many ways, is even bigger. Because now there's a hue and cry going on saying we need to raise the minimum wage to Indiana to $15 an hour. Now, currently, I think we're like $7.50 an hour. I could be wrong, but I think that's pretty much correct. Raise it to $15 an hour. Well, the problem with that is you raise it to $15 an hour, and let's say I'm working at a job, and I'm currently being paid $15 an hour. Because I've been doing the job a long time, I've been in a number of years, I'm very good at what I do, and suddenly the minimum wage for the job that I've been holding on for a number of years goes to $15 an hour, and so you can get somebody completely new, has no experience whatsoever, coming in, working my job, get $15 an hour, and I've been doing the job for a number of years. What do you think people like me are going to do? They're going to be upset, right? We're going to go to the boss and say, hey, we need to be raised to $25 an hour because we are a journeyman. We've been doing it a long time. We're experienced. Newbies coming in getting 15. I want 25. That's going to happen across the state if you do that. Keep that in mind. So anybody who's earning $15 an hour now because they're, good at what they do, they're working at a job, they're going to say, hey, you got to raise me up because I got to go up the equal amount, up the same thing as you did, bringing someone up from minimum wage. And here's something else to think about. All those jobs that young people get when they're in high school to kind of learn how to work? Those jobs are going to be gone. Because who's going to hire? Wages are the biggest amount of money that any company has to worry about. Wages and benefits. That's the big cut. That's the biggest chunk they have to worry about as an employer. You raise that cost, you're going to have fewer employees working. And you want to see robots coming in, you want to see artificial intelligence come in, you keep raising it. You're going to get exactly that. That's going to be the outcropping of what you get for raising it up. It's going to get so expensive, companies are going to say, we're going to let robots do it. That's going to happen. And here's something else to think about. You raise up the minimum wage, and like I said, everybody else going to want to raise too. When you raise things up, inflation goes up. Just telling you, whether you like it or not, inflation goes up. If I run a store and I got to pay my employees $15 an hour, well, I'm going to add that to the bottom line of the products I sell. Every company's going to do that, whether you like it or not. That's what's going to happen. And here's something else you may not know about. A number of union contracts set a base wage for their employees. It may be 2 or 3 times the current minimum wage for that area. So, if a company union has a base wage set up, say 3 times what minimum wage is, the starting wage of that company may be $23 an hour. Okay, I'm just giving you a guessing number here. 3 times what the minimum wage is. So around maybe $22, $23 an hour. You take that up to $15 an hour, and that 3 times level for that union contract is going to go from $22 to $45 an hour. That's what's going to happen. Those are the kind of things that you got to be cognizant of. And that's what the state has to think about. That's what the legislature's got to think about. So one, marijuana. We're going to get around to legalizing it. And the governor says he doesn't care. He'll probably sign it. But the Chamber of Commerce, And I want to know about the safety for people driving cars to be sure the other person driving another car is not stoned and can kill me, my family, or my children. That bothers me a bunch. But overall, are we to that point right now? What will the legislature do in the coming year? I don't know. And then the other thing about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, you've got a lot of problems that are going to come with that if you do that. Just something to think about. If you're worried about what's going on in the state of Indiana, now there's something new to deal with. Hey, aside from getting a gambling facility, a casino in your area, just something to talk about. And now, you know. If you're a fan of fast foods, and certainly a large part of the audience is, some of us really don't eat that stuff anymore, but if you're a fan of fast food, got some new things to tell you about. one of which is more for the Lenten season, which is going on right now, but it's almost over because Easter is about to happen. But if you're in the mood for a fish sandwich, the folks over at Taste of Home, who do a lot of great recipes, have done a study to figure out who has the best fish sandwiches, if that's what you're in the mood for. Now, like I said, during the Lenten season, on Fridays, people eat fish. But here's the top 10 list of the folks they have for great fish sandwiches. Number 10, take a look at this one. From McDonald's, no less. There it is. The McDonald's fish fillet sandwich. That's number 10. Number 9, White Castle fish slider. And I've never had that one myself, but hey, they said it's number 9. It's number 9. Number 8 on the list is Burger King Big Fish. You like fish sandwiches? Well, there's Burger King right there. Number 7, Wendy's. Wendy's makes a pretty good food. Wendy's Crispy Panko fish sandwich. Number 7. Number 6, Dairy Queen. Now, if you want to go over for a blizzard and get yourself something to eat with the blizzard, check out the Dairy Queen Wild Alaska Fish Sandwich. And then number 4, Arby's. Arby's getting into new stuff here. The Arby's Crispy Fish Sandwich. Number 4 on the list from Taste of Home. Number 3 on the list, Portillo's Breaded White Fish Sandwich. Never eaten at Portillo's, but I understand it's pretty good. I guess they have great hot dogs, too. And number 3 on the list, Culver's North Atlantic Cod Sandwich. Now, didn't know they had a North Atlantic Cod Sandwich, but that's number 3 on the list from Culver's. Number 2, Popeye's Flounder Fish Sandwich. If you like Popeyes, I think we have a Popeyes in the market. Yeah, go check it out. And who has the number 1 best fish sandwich? According to Taste of Home, there it is, folks. Culver's Northwood Walleye Sandwich. Now, apparently, that's not always available. It's only available in certain parts of their restaurants they have, and when they have it, because it's a battered walleye when it's in season. So when it's in season, you get the Culver's Northwood Walleye Sandwich. Well, that's just one place to eat is Culver's. Something else to eat, the folks at Taco Bell. Yes, Taco Bell. Live Más is what they say. Taco Bell is introducing 20 new items on their menu this year. 20 new ones, things that you can eat. But the one that really caught my attention was the Taco Bell Mexican empanadas. Caramel or chocolate, these are totally decadent, and there's something you have to try. If you like a great dessert, this is the one kind of dessert you gotta try. The empanadas from our friends at Taco Bell. Something new, but they're bringing in things like cheesy gordita crunch sliders, Diablo Doritos Cold Ranch and Flamin' Hot Dusted Crispy Chicken Nuggets, that's coming. Mexican pizza empanadas, creme brulee crunch wrap sliders, creme brulee, woo! And Mountain Dew Baja Midnight Pies. Never had a Mountain Dew Midnight Pie, but some of the fast food available now at some of the restaurants. In case you like to eat, well, there you go. Fish sandwich or Taco Bell, Live in Más. Either way, if you're into fast foods, now you know what's on the menu. And now you know. Way back in the 1960s, a gentleman by the name of Harold Palmer took a pretty good chunk of land off the St. Joe River and decided to turn it into probably one of the largest apartment complexes, at least in the state of Indiana and maybe in the United States. It was named Canterbury Green, and it was an apartment complex nothing like anyone had ever seen. Had a guard out front originally, well, so it's a guarded gate, if you will, to get into the place. That eventually went away. But in there was over 2,000 different apartments. Running around those 2,000 different apartments, multiple swimming pools. I think it was 3, maybe 4 swimming pools. And it had a big clubhouse. The clubhouse had, well, it had a training facility in it. It had racquetball courts in it. It had virtually everything you could think of in a clubhouse, almost like a country club. Oh, and speaking of country club, yes, it had a golf course. An 18-hole golf course. Now, it wasn't a gigantic golf course in the grand scheme of things, but it's a fun golf course to play for anybody who played it. They had long holes, short holes, par 3s, short par 4s. Fun hole to play. And throughout ran water. There was water ponds, there were streams, there was all kinds of things that could ruin your day if you wanted to. But it was a unique apartment complex unlike itself. All the apartments were different. You had 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, you had loft places, you had unique facilities, and some were more unique than others. But Canterbury Green was the apartment place to live back in the 1970s. Matter of fact, if you were in your 20s or 30s, place you wanted to live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, if you wanted to live anywhere, especially if you were single, was Canterbury Green. I know because I lived in Canterbury from 1975 to like 1981 and saw everything that was going on. It was a place. If you were hip, you were cool. If you were, well, you wanted to be anybody, the place you lived in Canterbury. As a matter of fact, I remember there was swimming on Saturday. Everybody was at the pool having a good time. And then on Sunday, over to one of the parks playing volleyball. And you had a kegger there, and well, everybody was having a grand time. That was Canterbury back in those days. Canterbury was the place to live. Well, recently, the property was sold to another company for $207.7 million, probably the largest acquisition of its kind, because Canterbury was so big it had its own zip code. Canterbury Green was the place to live in the 1970s. Well, it's been sold, like I said, for $207 million. But they recently announced, the management did, they are closing the 18-hole golf course and the bar and grill. Now, it got me to thinking about that. Closing the bar and grill, yeah, okay, it's a liquor license. They can sell that if they choose to. But closing the 18-hole golf course, what are you going to do with a property when you close an 18-hole golf course? There's only one logic to it, folks. They're going to build more apartments. They're going to build more units. They're going to tear up the golf course and put more properties in there, more apartments, whatever it is, to make the place even bigger. Now, is that going to mean they're going to tear down some of the old apartments? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But I can tell you this. Taking a venerable golf course, and I played on that golf course many times, loved the golf course, lived right there next to it. That's sad. But the only thing you can do with a golf course, when you get rid of it, is to build more properties on it. And I believe that's probably what's going to happen. That's just my opinion only. But it is sad and it is unfortunate. Canterbury Green, a venerable historic facility in the city of Fort Wayne, is now changing. And the changes may not be what everybody likes. And now, you know. You know, I think everybody in America will probably agree that Tiger Woods was one of the greatest golfers America has ever seen. And I use the term was, because Tiger is not the same Tiger Woods that I saw in 1997 when he premiered at the Masters tournament and smoked it. Blew everybody away, winning by 12 strokes. They even had to revise the course over the years to make it tougher because Tiger could just knock the course down in a heartbeat. Changed a lot of things. Tiger Woods he's tied for first in all PGA wins. Tied for first. And here's a young guy that was born in 1975. His father was an army officer. His mother was a Thai lady, met in Thailand, I guess. And, like I said, born in 1975. And Tiger Woods liked to play golf. I saw him on Merv Griffin many, many years ago, hitting a golf ball as a tiny kid. It was surprising he did the golf ball. That's what Tiger did, played golf. Won the Masters in 97. I remember that because I was watching it on TV, and I was telling my newsman, Lee Burdorf, said, this guy's incredible. And over the years, he proved he was incredible. He was the best of the best. You know, played on the various teams, Hall of Fame, you name it, he's done it. But his life did not go as well as you would have hoped for Tiger Woods. Married a beautiful young lady, ended up getting a divorce because he was, messing around. Sorry, that's what he was doing. And he would continue to do that because when you're the richest guy in the golf world, worth about $1.2 billion, you got more women throwing themselves at you. And whether you take him up on it or refuse is your call, but Tiger was what Tiger was. I guess that's why they call him Tiger. Tiger got himself in trouble in more than one way, but he got himself in trouble because he got in car crashes. Probably the worst one was back when he had the crash a few years back, almost lost his leg. He was doing 84, 85 in a 45-mile zone in California where the roads are, well, windy to say the very least. Crashed his car, damn near lost his leg. Now, well, Tiger had another crash, but he's had other incidents. Back in 2017, they found him asleep in his car, had flat tires, turn signal on, damage to the vehicle. He was arrested for driving under the influence. Now, the latest one down in Florida, driving a Land Rover. Clips a truck, high speed on his Land Rover, driving that, flips it over. He's fine. Tested when they gave him a blood alcohol test, a BA, blowing the thingy, double zeros, nothing. Said, hey, we want to do a urine test. He refused. Now he's been charged DUI. Here's something going on, folks. Tiger Woods wanted to be back in the Masters this year. Say he was coming back again, but Tiger, you ain't the same dude. I'm sorry. Your body has been messed up in more ways. You've had 4 back surgeries between 2014 and 2017. 4. Your body ain't working, dude. You've run it as best you can. You've been doing it since you were a little tyke. Your body's given out. Yes, you're rich, and yes, you're a golfer. But you're going to have to learn how to do something else, dude. Tell you, you could be the richest golfer in the world and still want to play golf, but your body says, no, I'm not doing it. And America, we got to understand, Tiger's got a drug addiction. And if you have that many surgeries and have that many problems and almost lose your leg, you got to be in pain over something the whole time. What are you taking? I don't know. But when you refuse a drug test, well, you're using drugs. So I'm sorry about this, and I feel bad about this. And I think Tiger was one of the greatest golfers. And frankly, on TV, when he played, I watched. I don't watch golf anymore because, well, Tiger Woods ain't playing. That's just simply me. I'm a Tiger Woods fan. But the world will lament a lot because Tiger was going up to be the captain of the Davis Cup team. And I think that may be in peril. He may not get that now. May not be playing in the Masters. And to be honest with you, I think he needs a driver or somebody from Uber, whatever. He shouldn't be driving, but is he ever going to be off the pain pills, the medication, and whatever he's taking? I do not know. My guess is probably not. Not with that many surgeries, folks. Not with that trying to come back and be physically fit to go around a golf course. When you walk a golf course, you're walking thousands of yards up and down hills. Your body can't take that when you've had that many surgeries. He's worn his body out. Equipment is given out. OEM parts are no longer available, Tiger. Sorry. It's time you stand back and maybe go into coaching, teaching, or whatever. But you really can't be a golfer anymore, my man. I'm sorry. And unfortunately, you're hooked on whatever you're hooked on, and I understand it. You ain't the first person to have that happen to him. But driving, man, get an Uber, get a Lyft. Aside from that, you once were great. You've lost that greatness. But you still have money. You still have your life, and you still have kids. Make them great. You've lived your life. You've done a whole lot. You've done more than most people could do, and you're earning more than anybody else has. Be thankful for that. But live your life in peace and calmness. Stay off the roads and start teaching. Maybe that's the best thing to do because you're no longer a golfer, man. I'm sorry. You're no longer a golfer. That's my opinion. And now you know. Well, welcome into this edition of the Pat White Show. I'm coming to you from a, secret location I'm not going to tell you about. But I'm here to tell you, a confession. That's what I'm doing today, confessional, if you will. Here's something you didn't know about me, but, now you're about to find out. For the last 23 years, I have been a fan of NCIS, the TV show. Yes, I know. I've been watching it every year. But even more than that, I've also watched the spin-offs. First one that came on the NCIS spin-offs was NCIS LA. I watched that for like 14 years. Great TV show, very entertaining. Then they came up with NCIS New Orleans. Scott Bakula on that one. That was a great show also. Sadly, that didn't last, but it was a great show. And then, of course, they came up with the NCIS Hawaii. That was fine. That was okay. I enjoyed that one. But then ultimately NCIS Sydney, which I don't watch. And then there's a new one, the NCIS Origins, which I'm not a fan of. But the original NCIS I have been a fan of for the last 23 years. Now, they just had their 500th episode, and in it, they killed off Director Vance. Yep, that's what they did. Cliffhanger, they killed off the director who'd been the director for like 18 years. He was the third director they had on the TV show, following Jenny, who got killed in a gunfight at that restaurant out in the desert somewhere. But he's been the director for 18 years, and they killed him off in a very kind of a unique episode. It was well done, brought Ducky back, and you saw some of Mark Harmon and all the other things going on. And he walked into the Heaven's Gate and heard his wife's voice, and that's how that show ended. But the problem is, NCIS this season, this is going to be over until May. So what? They kill off the director in March. They still got April and May sweeps. So what are they going to fill it with? And the bigger question is, who is going to be the next director of NCIS? Which brings me to my pontification. This is my theory, and it's my theory alone. If you don't agree, that's fine, but I'm going to tell you what my theory is. My theory is for the next few episodes going into this season, they got to have a cliffhanger in May, correct? That's normally how they do it. Who is going to be the new director of NCIS? I'm thinking, based on the clues that I saw in the show, and some of the other teaser things they've been running, that I think I know who's going to be the new director of NCIS, at least for the upcoming season, season number 24, and maybe season 25, don't know. Who I think is going to be the director? Ready? I believe Mark Harmon is coming back as Leroy Gibbs. That's correct. Leroy Gibbs coming back from Alaska, coming out of retirement, because that would be the perfect job. If you think about it, he came in at the start of the episode, right back when it came off of JAG, back 23 years ago. He started. And then it went to this. So here's where it is today. Where it is today is we've got to find a new director. And I believe that Mark Harmon is probably going to be the most perfect one. He can be in the episodes he wants to be in. He's the head boss. He's not going to be an agent. Tells everybody else what to do, and they call him boss anyway. So I believe he is going to be the next director. That's my guess. That's my belief. That's my theory, if you will. Now, you don't have to agree with the theory, but think of somebody who can do that job better, who wants to come back on the show. And if you're going to end the series, say in season 24 or 25, who do you want ending the series? The guy who started it. Mark Harmon starts out as the agent, ends up as the director of NCIS. That, folks, is what I believe is my theory as to what's going to happen for NCIS in the coming weeks, ending up the final cliffhanger in season 24, or 23 rather, and going on to season 24, and possibly season 25. It'll give them a total of around 550 episodes if it ends after season 25. That's my theory, folks. That's what I'm thinking. Mark Harmon coming back as Leroy Gibbs, the new director of NCIS. And what a better way to finish up the season and finish up the entire event of NCIS before CBS says it's done, it's over, stick a fork in it. That's my prediction. And now, you know.